Hey makeup friends! Today we're going to be playing around with the new Moon Spell Volume 2 palette from Lunar Beauty, and let me tell you, this should have come with a hold on to your butts warning because I didn't, and now my ass is on the floor. Let's get into this. As always, I want to start off by welcoming you back to my channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb, although, full disclosure, there's likely going to be more than one in this video because, as I alluded to, my butt fell off while I was applying it, and this thing has blown my mind. So, we will get to that in time, but first let's take a look at the palette itself. So it retails for $48 US and it is available through the Lunar Beauty website. It's not currently on Beauty Bay. I expect that it will show up there eventually, but if you're interested in it right now, go over to Lunar Beauty and you can purchase it there. This is a cruelty-free palette, and for those $48, you are getting 20 shades, and you can see that this has a very defined theme to it. Reds and purples, which frankly, they're my jam. I've said it so many times on my channel. These kind of colors just like make my eyes pop. I love the colors anyways, but the fact that they just like amp my eyes up, just so much the better. So this is what the palette looks like. Now, like I said, this is the Moon Spell Volume 2, so I do have the original Moon Spell as well. So I just wanted to do a really quick comparison for you so that you can see here is the Volume 1, here is Volume 2. So Volume 2 is larger, and I would argue that the theming in this palette is stronger than over here. There is some comparison to be made because obviously you have this row of purples over here. I have swatched them out and played around to see just how similar they are. I'm happy to report that there are no dupes. There are some shades that are close to each other, but no complete dupes. So I'm happy about that. I will show you very briefly what some of these shades are that are similar to each other. So on this finger here, we have the shade Piper from Volume 1. And over here we have the shade Zelda from Volume 2. So Piper is now on top, Zelda is on the bottom. So the one from Volume 2 is a bit deeper in tone. Now the matte purple shade in Volume 1 is called Sabrina. The matte purple shade in Volume 2 is called Macy. So here we have Sabrina and then Macy. Without even swatching it, you can see that they are quite different one from the next, but I will swatch them anyways. So this is Volume 2, this is Volume 1. Now there's just one more comparison that I want to do. So from Volume 1, there's the shade called Paige, and from Volume 2, there's a shade called Hilda, and these two look somewhat similar in the pan, but again, once you swatch them out, they really aren't anywhere near being dupes. Now that we've done the comparison, let's take a look at the swatches of Moon Spell Volume 2. Now because there are 20 shades and my arm is only so long, I've just taken pictures of them using a swatch stencil, so I'm going to insert that and a little video so you can see the reflex that are going in there. Just so that you're aware, I did prime my arm before I applied the shadows to them, so I just want you to be aware of that. But having done all the comparison swatches that I have been doing and just sort of playing around with the shadows, I haven't really noticed any performance issues when I've been swatching it on the back of my hand when they aren't primed. So I don't think that these are the kind of shadows that require a primer in order to perform well. Alright, so that is the basic information that I want to give you about the palette. There are some lip products as well. I didn't pick them up, but I am wearing one of Lunar Beauty's glosses. This is in the shade Aura. And I think it's a very, very comfortable formula. There's nothing overpowering in terms of the scent of them. They don't have that mentholated sort of tingly feel. It's just a very comfortable gloss to wear. So along with this collection, there are 2 gloss options and a liquid lipstick as well. The glosses retail for $17 and the liquid lipstick is $18. So there we have it. Now let's get into these 2 eye looks. Okay, I absolutely cannot resist this red shade here. So that is going to be the star of the first look. So I'm going to start off by going in with the shade Sally and just buffing that all throughout the crease. I'm going to take it out a bit further than I normally do because I want this to be really blown out and dramatic. This lens is great for close-up work. It is crap for autofocusing. So I'm just going to stick a little picture down to show you what shade it is that I'm using because that's just going to make everybody's life far easier. All right, so the shade Cameron is up next. These shadows are packing a punch so far. Like I don't have to dip back in or any, like, oh, I can already tell I'm gonna love this. Oh, those colors, yes, please. All right, so now we're gonna go in with the shade Willow, which is this insanely intense cherry red. I have the feeling that my eye color is just gonna go like crank the dial to like electric green. Here we go. There is just something about the contrast of red against my eye color that I just cannot get enough of. Oh, she's beautiful. But the true test, I think, to any red is blending it and seeing if it continues to stay red or if it blends out pink. Because I find a lot of reds, they can look like a true red in the pan, but the more you fuss around with them, the more like almost fuchsia they look. But this one's staying true red. Oh my God, she's so gorgeous. What the hell? That is beautiful. Just gonna add a little bit more because why the fuck not? Look at that. Oh, it's delicious. It is truly, truly delicious. Okay, where do we go from here? Well, okay, I'm just gonna blend those edges because like I said, I want this to be a bit more blown out than how I normally do my eyeshadow, just because it's so gorgeous. No issues blending. Again, it is staying red, which I really appreciate because if it looks that gorgeous, you don't want it changing color as you're blending it out. But like those are all blending in really nicely together. I haven't had to use a ton of product and it's blending out gorgeously. All right, for my lower lash line, I'm gonna go in with this deep burgundy shade called Queenie and apply that along the outer half at any rate. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. So gorgeous. Okay, I am gonna blend that out with the shade Freya, if only to use that shade. It's fairly similar to Willow, but not as intense and has a more strongly like coral sort of pink undertone to it. So this is one that I think is definitely going to pull more pink as you blend it. But because I'm buffing out that deeper burgundy shade, I think that's gonna sort of tone it down from the pink side of things. But honestly, it's all gonna play nicely together, so who cares? It's freaking gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Can we normalize smoky red eyeshadow for the office, please? Because because I would wear this every day. I love it. Okay, so I do want to deepen up the outer corner of my lid, so I'm going to use that same shade Queenie and just, even the same brush, put that into that outer area here, just to add some dimension, run it up into the crease, and then once I have it sort of placed where I want it, I'll use a different brush to blend it, because pencil brush, not great for blending. Good for precise application, that's about it. And just blend that deeper shade. Might have to build it up a little bit, but better to go in with too little than too much. One thing that I want to point out is that there's no fallout on my face. Like, even with that really deep burgundy shade, none of it has escaped. Like, I have packed that on, and typically there would be fallout, but there's none. So super impressed with the quality of these shadows as well. Now I am going to add a little bit of sparkle to the lid just to punch it up even more, and frankly just to play. So I'm going to use the shade Grams, and I'm just going to pick it up with my finger and just pat it over the center area of my lid, just so that it catches the light a little bit. I don't want like a fully opaque layer of it. I just want a little something something. Mission accomplished. There we have it. Before I move on to the inner corner though, I am going to pick up more of that shade Grams and pick it up on a very small, precise brush. This one's from Rephr. It's the 03 brush. And just on this very inner portion, not quite the inner corner, but the very inner bit of my eyelid, I'm going to apply that. That's that same shade that is patted over my lid, but I'm just going to make it a little bit more concentrated on the inner side here. There. And because I know which shade I want to use for my inner corner, I just touched. Oh, that was a colossal mistake. Wow, that was the finger that I just patted it all over my effing lid with. Excellent. Okay, let's solve this particular problem first, and then we'll carry on. So with what's left over on the brush, I am going to run that into the inner corner because I want to go in with the shade Luna as my actual inner corner highlight, but I think it might be a little light compared to everything else that's going on. So I want it to have a little bit of a deeper base. So I'm gonna go in. This is gorgeous. And if you're not aware, my puppy's name is Luna. So of course that's gonna be my favorite shade. All right, now that all the shadows are placed, I'm gonna go in with a clean brush and just blend all the edges again and anywhere where two shadows meet. Okay, and with that same brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that initial shade I went in with, Sally, and just lightly use that to buff the edges just a little bit more. Now, I'm not going to bother doing liner and mascara right now. We're going to switch over to this eye, and then I will do all the liner and all that crap all in one shot. Come back, show you final look, all the good stuff, but for now we need to switch gears and take care of this eye. I debated doing like a much more neutral look, but I can't resist the purples. We gotta go in with purple. So I'm gonna start off with the shade Alex, which is this really light pinky sort of lilac shade, and just use that as a transition shade. It kind of reminds me of the shade Snob from, is it Snob? Snob or Saint Germain? One of those ones from MAC. Remember when like those were all the rage and everybody talked about those shades? I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about those in years. I never had those ones. That was, and like Myth. Myth was the one that was like full-on concealer lips, right? God, it's been so long that I can't even remember. I'm gonna go in with the shade Jillian, which is along the same lines, but a little bit deeper, and just work on establishing a little bit of a gradient here. I can hear something. I'm like, what is that? I'm home by myself. What is that? No, it's the freaking cat snoring from upstairs. She must be lying like directly above me. Can you, I don't know if you can hear that. That's so weird. She sounds like an underwater creature or something. Can you hear that? Oh my God. Silly Gracie. Again, no issues with blending whatsoever. I mean, frankly, this is my 4th Lunar Beauty palette. I would have been shocked if there were issues blending it, to be honest, because his palettes have been incredibly consistent and high quality. So pretty. Okay, now let's go in. Hilda. Let's go in with the shade Hilda. And I'm going to place that along the outer portion of my lid and onto the inner. And we'll do a bit of a halo eye. It's not impossible for me to do a cut crease, but I don't have much in the way of lid space. I'm hooded as hell. Halo eyes are just so much easier. And frankly, I really like the look of them. I think they're very, very pretty. And one thing that I'm really liking with these purple shades as well is that they really make the gradient so easy because they're all along the same lines, but they just have varying degrees of depth, which is kind of the defining thing about a gradient, right? But it just makes the blending so easy. God, I should sell my cat to do like horror movie voice acting. She sounds like a monster up there. I kind of hope the mic can pick it up so you can hear it, but also that might be very distracting. Clearly it's distracting me. Oh, that's so pretty. All right. Okay. I am going to go in with a small little fluffy brush and pick up the shade Macy, which is the deepest of the matte purples. And again, place that in the same area, just not quite as much. Even that purple's building up really nicely, and purples can be quite finicky, but this one I'm not having issues with. I am just going to build it up a little bit just to get that blend as smooth as possible. This area of my eye, for some reason, is like, fuck you, eyeshadow. I don't want you to blend over me. Always, always. I don't know why that one little patch is such a punk. But my God, I need to beat it into submission. There. Okay, before I go on to the center of the lid, I'm going to take care of the lower lash line. So I'm going to go in with the shade Marie, which is a matte, is it full-on black? It's almost like a really, really deep gray. Like once it's blended out, it looks more gray than pure black, which frankly, I think is going to make it a bit easier to work with. And it has little flecks of micro glitter in it as well. So that I think is going to be very pretty under the eyes, and then I can buff it out with a purple, but let's let's get it under the eyes first. Maybe it's black. I don't know. Nuance. I don't know. Let's bring that up. Connect it over on this side. I don't want to put a shade quite that deep on the inner, so I'm just going to leave it off of there. But I will put it out here. Also, have we noticed? That's about as Halloween-y as I get. So there you have it. I'm making my contribution to spooky October. Oh my god, I'm so happy with this palette. Holy shit. Okay, need to buff that out though, and instead of going in with Macy, again, just so that I can play with as many shades as possible, I'm going to use the shade Maggie and tap off the excess because holy crap, it wants to be on a brush and it wants to be applied. So let's do that. Again, like there's no issues blending. None whatsoever. You'd think if there was going to be any issues, particularly that really, really dark shade would cause some issues, but none whatsoever. Oh, I'm so impressed. Okay. She's moody and I like it. I'm not going to pick up anything extra, but I'm just going to blend that corner out as well. There we go. Okay, on to the center of the lid. So I'm gonna go in first with Myrtle, which is a bit more of a satiny purple. And because I'm gonna go in with this darker base first, I'm not gonna bother like putting concealer or anything like that on the center. I would do that if I was trying to really brighten everything up, but I kind of like the deep dark vibe that's going on here, so I'm gonna forgo that step. There. Oh, why are you so pretty? What the heck? Oh gosh. Okay, and then I'm just gonna flip the brush over and pick up the shade Misty and just keep that a little bit more central. But it'll help just add a little bit of a spotlight on the center there. Here. All right, now this is one where the shade Luna would be really pretty on the inner corner as well, but we've already used that, so we need to diversify. So we're gonna go in with Agatha and see what she looks like out of the pan. I think she looks nice. Oh, let's run that up here too, because why not? Okay, I'm in love. I'm in love, but I think we can make it look even better by applying some liner, some mascara. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then I'll come back, show you the final look, and we're gonna wrap it up. I'll be right back. All right, so I kept the liner very simple because, I mean, when the eyeshadow is this pretty, who needs the distraction, right? So kept the eyeliner very simple, just used mascara. I, honest to God, most times just cannot be bothered with fake lashes. Like, I just can't be bothered. So here we are. Need I say more? I mean, I'm going to say more, but need I? I am in love with this palette. Full stop. There it is. But I'm gonna stretch that out into a proper outro. Here we go. Okay, so now it's time for a proper and formal outro, which is going to include final thoughts on the palette, which frankly should be completely obvious at this point. I am so happy with this palette. I mean, obviously this is a first impressions. I've only done these 2 eye looks with it. It was just delivered today, but I've used so many of his palettes in the past that I have this expectation of how they're going to perform. The application holds up to the standards that the other palettes have set, so I have no doubt that the performance over time of these shadows is going to hold up as well. Those shimmers are still going to look beautiful, you know, several hours down the road after application. The mattes are going to hold up and not just become some muddy, muddled mess on the eyes, and I'm just so happy. I think this is my favorite of his palettes. Is it? From a color perspective, this is definitely my favorite of his palettes. I also really, really like Life's a Drag Volume 2. I love that it's split into neutral and colorful. I love the ease of application of that and that they're little pans. Like I like that palette, but this color story is one that I can see myself returning to over and over and over again. And all of my red and purple dreams have now been realized, and I'm so happy with this palette. So that is it. I mean, I can't really drag it out much more beyond that. This is just a first impressions, but like I said, I've used enough of Lunar Beauty's formula in the past that I expect nothing short of amazing from them, frankly, and this palette definitely delivers. So if you are interested, I will link it down below. I'm not affiliated with Lunar Beauty, nor do I have any sort of code with them, although a girl can dream, but I will link it down there for ease of finding, and I have zero buyer's remorse in this one. So for what that's worth, there you have it. But now I've just entered into rambling territory, so I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now. And I need a wipe. Where the fuck are all my wipes? Where the fuck are all my wipes? I had so many wipes, I can't find any wipes. What? Fuck. And a pair of crotchless underwear. That's not helpful.